She thought muttering a single Korean curse word under her breath would go unnoticed in that crowded Seoul diner, but the most dangerous man in the city heard every syllable. What Yuna didn't know was that Min Jae, the feared Mafia boss sitting at the bar, had been waiting 3 years to hear someone curse with that much fire, that much defiance. One whispered word would pull her grandmother into a deadly game of pharmaceutical fraud, turn her safe world into a nightmare of fake medical bills and death threats, and force her to choose between the monster who kidnapped them and the criminals who wanted to harvest her grandmother's organs for profit. But the biggest shock, the man she thought was her captor was actually an undercover agent, and the people offering to save her were running human experiments on elderly patients like her grandmother. By the time Yuna discovers the truth, she's already fallen for the killer who promised to die protecting her, and he's about to keep that promise. Subscribe and tell me in the comments, have you ever trusted the wrong person when your family's life was on the line? The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. The ticket bell rang again. Yuna Choi wiped grease from her hands and grabbed the next order. "Table 6 wants extra kimchi," she called to the kitchen. Her phone vibrated against her hip. She ignored it. The greasy spoon diner hummed with late-night energy. Drunk salarymen argued over baseball scores. A group of college students shared one plate of tteokbokki. The coffee maker hissed steam into the already thick air. Yuna's phone buzzed again. She pulled it out while balancing 3 plates on her arm. "Prescription ready for pickup. Supply runs low by morning. Seoul General Pharmacy." Her stomach tightened. Halmione's heart medication cost more than Yuna made in 2 days. She had maybe 6 hours before the pharmacy opened. 6 hours to finish this shift and scrape together enough one. She deleted the message and kept moving. "Miss, more soju here." A businessman waved his empty bottle. His tie hung loose around his neck. His eyes followed her legs as she approached. "Right away," Yuna said. Her voice was steady, professional. 2 more texts popped up while she poured. She glanced at the screen. Unknown numbers, photos attached. The first showed her apartment door. Fresh shoe prints marked the concrete outside. The second showed Halmione's prescription bottle sitting on their kitchen counter. Yuna's hands shook. She set the soju bottle down harder than needed. "Everything okay, sweetheart?" The drunk businessman reached for her wrist. Yuna pulled back. "Fine. Just tired." She deleted both messages. Her throat felt tight. The diner suddenly seemed too hot, too crowded, too loud. The ticket bell rang again. She had 3 tables waiting for orders, 2 more hours on her shift. No time to think about threats or photos or Halmione sleeping alone in their tiny apartment. Yuna felt scared, but scared didn't pay for medication. Scared didn't keep the lights on. She grabbed the next order and kept serving. "Table 12 wants the seafood pancake," she called. Her phone stayed quiet for exactly 23 minutes. Then it buzzed again. This time she didn't look. The drunk businessman grew louder with each empty bottle. His friends laughed at jokes that weren't funny. Yuna refilled their water glasses and tried to stay invisible. "You know what?" the man said, grabbing her wrist as she reached for his plate. "You're prettier than the girls in Gangnam." Yuna tugged her arm free. "Please let go. Come on. Just being friendly." His fingers tightened. "Bet you don't get many compliments working in a dump like this." Heat rose in Yuna's chest. She wanted to throw the leftover soup in his face, tell him exactly what she thought of his greasy hands and wandering eyes. Instead, she smiled. "Thank you. Can I get you anything else?" The man's grip loosened. He leaned back in his chair, satisfied with her submission. "Sibal," Yuna whispered under her breath. A man at the far end of the bar turned his head. His dark eyes found hers across the crowded diner. He wore a simple black suit, no tie. His hair was neat, but not styled. Everything about him seemed precise, controlled. He stood slowly, walked toward their table with measured steps. "Enough," he said. His voice was quiet. "Certain?" The businessman looked up. His drunk smile faded. "Who the hell are you?" The man in black didn't answer. He stared at the drunk's hand, still hovering near Yuna's wrist. The businessman pulled back as if burned. "Sorry. No problem here." The drunk threw money on the table. "We were just leaving." His entire group scrambled for the door. Yuna watched them stumble into the street. The diner felt suddenly quiet. "Thank you," she said to the man in black. "But I could have handled it." "I'm sure you could." His voice carried a slight accent. "Educated. Expensive. May I offer you a ride home?" Yuna's jaw tightened. "I don't need a ride. The streets aren't safe this late." I've been taking care of myself for a long time. Something shifted in his expression, almost like approval. Then I won't keep you. He left exact change for his coffee on the bar. No tip, no lingering stare. He walked out the front door and disappeared into the Soul Night. Yuna's breath caught. She realized she'd been holding it. Who was that? Asked Jin, the night cook. No idea. Yuna wiped down the abandoned table. Her hands still shook slightly. The ticket bell rang. 2 more orders up. She grabbed the plates and tried to forget about dark eyes and quiet commands. At exactly 3 a.m., she clocked out. The manager handed her the night's tips without looking up from his paperwork. 43,001. Not enough for the prescription, but close. Yuna stepped into the cold air behind the diner. Seoul never truly slept. Traffic hummed in the distance. Neon signs flickered across wet pavement. She pulled her jacket tighter and started walking home. Behind her, a black sedan pulled away from the curb. She didn't notice the driver's face in the rearview mirror, didn't see him reach for his phone. She's walking, a voice said into the darkness. Intercept in 10 minutes. Yuna's apartment building squatted between a coin laundry and a closed pharmacy. The elevator hadn't worked in 3 months. She climbed 4 flights of concrete stairs, keys ready in her hand. 2 men waited by her door. They wore cheap grey suits and cheaper shoes. One had a scar running from his left ear to his jaw. The other kept checking his phone. Miss Choi? The scarred man smiled. We need to discuss the balance due. Yuna's chest tightened. I don't know what you're talking about. Your grandmother's medical bills. Treatment's expensive these days. We pay what we owe. Not according to our records. The second man stepped closer. 43 million won, plus interest. Yuna felt dizzy. 43 million? That's impossible. Emergency room visits, ambulance fees, specialist consultations. Scarred man ticked off items on his fingers. Your insurance only covers so much. We never agreed to any loans. Your grandmother signed the papers. Very legal, very binding. The second man pulled out a tablet, showed her a signature that looked exactly like Halmione's shaky handwriting. Yuna's stomach dropped. Halmione had been confused lately. Forgetful. She might have signed anything if someone claimed it would help with medical costs. What do you want? Yuna asked. 20% down. Tonight. Or we start collecting other ways. A red scooter pulled up to the curb below. The engine stayed running. Yuna heard footsteps in the stairwell. Heavy, measured, coming up fast. A third man appeared on the landing. Tall, broad shoulders. He moved with military precision. Problem here? He asked. Private business, scarred man said. His hand moved toward his jacket. Then I'll make it public. The newcomer stepped between Yuna and the suits. She recognized his voice from the diner. Quiet, certain. Ji-ho, he said into a small radio. Now, the man from the bar appeared at the top of the stairs. His black suit looked expensive in the hallway's dim light. His eyes swept the scene once, took inventory, made decisions. Scarred man pulled a knife from his jacket. 8 inches of steel flashed in the fluorescent light. The boss moved faster than Yuna could follow. He caught the man's wrist, twisted. The knife clattered to the concrete floor. Then he picked it up by the blade, examined it, turned it handle first, and drove the point deep into the wooden planter beside Yuna's door. You have 3 seconds, he said to the suits. Both men ran for the stairs. Yuna pressed her back against her apartment door. Her heart hammered against her ribs. You followed me, she said. Yes. Why? Because they were waiting. He nodded toward the planter. The knife handle stuck out between the wilted marigolds. This won't be the last time. I can take care of myself. Against collection thugs with fake documents? His voice stayed level. They'll be back tomorrow, with more men, different tactics. What do you want from me? Nothing. He handed her a business card. Plain white paper, no logo, just a phone number. Call when you're ready to listen. The boss walked toward the stairs. His security man followed 1 step behind. Wait, Yuna called. How do you know about the documents? He paused on the landing. Because I know who sent them. The black sedan was gone by the time Yuna looked out her window. The red scooter had vanished too. Only the knife remained, driven deep into the planter, evidence that none of it had been a dream. Yuna's hands shook as she unlocked her apartment door. Inside, Halmione's television played at low volume, cooking shows and old dramas, comforting sounds in the darkness. Yuna ya? Halmione's voice came from the bedroom, weak but alert. Is that you? Yes, Halmione. Just got home from work. So late. You work too hard. Yuna kicked off her shoes and padded to the tiny kitchen. The prescription bottle sat exactly where the photo had shown it. Empty. She shook it anyway, hoping for one missed pill. Nothing. Hermione coughed. Once, then harder. The sound echoed off the thin walls. Yuna rushed to the bedroom. Her grandmother sat up in bed, face pale. Her breathing came in short gasps. Can't catch my breath, Hermione wheezed. Your medication ran out. I'll get more in the morning. Morning might be too late. Fear shot through Yuna's chest. She reached for her phone to call an ambulance, then remembered the men in suits. The fake medical bills. How much would another emergency room visit cost? Her phone rang. Unknown number. Miss Choi. The voice was familiar. Professional. This is Jiho. I work with the gentleman you met tonight. How did you get this number? Your grandmother needs medical attention. A doctor is standing by. Yuna's breath caught. You're watching us. We're protecting you. The doctor can be there in 10 minutes. No charge. No paperwork. Hermione coughed again. Her lips looked blue in the lamplight. What's the catch? Yuna asked. No catch. But my employer would like to speak with you afterward. Another cough. Hermione's hand clutched at her chest. Send the doctor, Yuna said. She hung up and knelt beside the bed, took Hermione's hand. The skin felt thin as paper. Help is coming, Yuna whispered. Good girl. Always so careful, so responsible. Yuna felt tears threaten. She blinked them back. Exactly 10 minutes later, someone knocked. Yuna looked through the peephole. A middle-aged woman in scrubs stood in the hallway. She carried a medical bag and a small oxygen tank. Dr. Park, the woman said when Yuna opened the door. I understand there's a cardiac issue. Yuna led her to the bedroom. Dr. Park examined Hermione with gentle efficiency, checked her pulse, listened to her heart, clipped a small device to her finger. Oxygen saturation is low, blood pressure elevated. The doctor attached a clear mask to the oxygen tank. This will help immediately. Hermione's color improved within minutes. Her breathing eased. She needs her regular medication, Dr. Park said quietly. And these supplements, she handed Yuna, 2 small bottles. 1 pill twice daily. This should last 2 weeks. How much do I owe you? Nothing. Take care of her. That's payment enough. The doctor packed her equipment, left as quietly as she'd arrived. Hermione squeezed Yuna's hand. Such a kind doctor. Where did she come from? A friend, Yuna said. The word felt strange on her tongue. Her phone buzzed. Text message. The car is waiting downstairs. We need to move you both tonight. Yuna looked at the planter knife still visible through her window. At Hermione, breathing easier with the oxygen mask, she typed back, on one condition. We talk first. Agreed. 5 minutes. Yuna kissed Hermione's forehead. Rest. I'll be right back. The boss waited in the hallway, still wearing his black suit, still radiating that unsettling calm. Thank you for the doctor, Yuna said. Your grandmother needed help. What do you want in return? To keep you both alive. His eyes held hers. The men tonight were just a test. Tomorrow they'll come with guns, or fire, or leverage against your neighbors. Why do you care? Something shifted in his expression. Because I've seen what happens when good people get caught in bad situations, and you're not a bad situation. I'm the only situation that keeps you breathing past sunrise. Yuna's stomach tightened. What are you asking? Move to a safe location. 1 week. Until I resolve the threat. I don't even know your name. Ryu Minjae. He handed her a second card. This one had an address. The car leaves in 20 minutes. With or without you. And if I refuse, then I post guards outside your building. Your neighbors ask questions. The police start investigating. Your grandmother's oxygen runs out, and no doctor comes. Yuna felt trapped, angry, scared. 20 minutes, Minjae said. Pack light. He walked toward the stairs, paused at the landing. Miss Choi, the medication in your hand is worth more than most people make in a month. No one gives gifts like that without expecting something in return. The stairwell door closed behind him. Yuna stared at the pill bottles in her palm. Read the labels twice. Imported medications. The kind Hermione's doctor said were too expensive to prescribe. She went back inside to pack. 20 minutes later, Yuna helped Hermione down 4 flights of stairs. Her grandmother moved, slowly but steadily. The oxygen had helped more than Yuna dared hope. Where are we going? Hermione asked. To stay with a friend. Just for a few days. What kind of friend has a car this nice? The black sedan waited at the curb. Leather seats, tinted windows. The engine ran silent and smooth. Jiho held the rear door open. He wore the same military bearing from the stairwell. Professional, alert. His eyes swept the street twice before gesturing them inside. Min-jae sat in the front passenger seat. He turned as they settled into the leather. "Mrs. Choi, I apologize for the late hour," he said to Halmioni. "I hope you're feeling better." "Much better, thank you. Such a kind young man." Halmioni patted his hand. "Yuna doesn't bring friends around often enough." Yuna felt her cheeks burn. "He's not exactly a friend, Halmioni." "Then what is he?" The car pulled away from the curb. Seoul's neon lights streaked across the windows. "Complicated," Yuna whispered in Korean. Min-jae's shoulders tensed slightly. He understood. "Sybil," she added under her breath. This time he turned around. Their eyes met in the dim light. "Say that again," he said quietly. Slowly. Something in his voice made her stomach flutter. Not anger, something else. Something that made her pulse quicken. "I don't think so." "Are you always this stubborn? Are you always this controlling?" "Only when people's lives are at stake." Jiho cleared his throat. "Boss, route change needed." 3 cars following since Mapo district. Min-jae pulled out his phone, sent a quick text. Within seconds, 2 motorcycles appeared in the side mirrors. They flanked the sedan at a discreet distance. "Who's following us?" Yuna asked. "Insurance," Min-jae said. "Nothing to worry about. I'm worried about everything lately." "That's smart. Worry keeps you alive." Halmioni dozed against Yuna's shoulder. The medication had taken the edge off her pain. Her breathing stayed steady. "The men at my building," Yuna said. "You know who sent them?" "Kang Jun-sok. He runs collections for the Huang family." "Why would they target us?" "Because someone paid them to." "Who?" Min-jae's jaw tightened. "Someone who wants to hurt me." The car turned down a narrow alley. Traditional houses lined both sides. Hanok architecture mixed with modern security systems. Cameras on every corner, guards in civilian clothes. "You live here?" Yuna asked. "Sometimes. When safety matters more than convenience." The sedan stopped beside a wooden gate. Motion sensors triggered soft lighting. The gate opened without any visible signal. They drove into a small courtyard. Stone paths curved between careful gardens. Paper screens glowed behind wooden frames. "It's beautiful," Halmioni whispered. A woman appeared at the main entrance. Middle-aged, dressed in simple dark clothing. She bowed slightly as they approached. "This is Madame He-rin," Min-jae said. "She manages the house." "Welcome," He-rin said to Yuna and Halmioni. "Your rooms are ready. Please follow me." The interior smelled of wood polish and green tea. Sliding doors opened onto tatami mats. Modern heating mixed with traditional aesthetics. "Mrs. Choi, your room has an adjustable bed and private bath," He-rin explained. "The call button reaches my quarters directly." She showed Halmioni to a corner room with windows facing the garden, soft lighting, thick quilts, a small television already tuned to her favorite drama channel. "This is too much," Halmioni said. "We can't afford." "Your guests," Min-jae said. "Nothing is expected." Yuna's room sat across the hall, smaller but equally comfortable. Western-style bed, private entrance to the garden. "House rules are simple," He-rin explained. "No one enters without permission. No one leaves without escort. Meals are served at regular times, but the kitchen is always available." "How long are we staying?" Yuna asked. 1 week, Min-jae said. "Maybe less." "And then?" "Then you go home, safe." Yuna wanted to believe him, wanted to trust the quiet certainty in his voice. "I need to call my work, explain why I won't be in." "Already handled. You're taking sick days to care for your grandmother. You can't just—" "I can. And I did." His voice stayed level. "Your boss thinks Halmioni has pneumonia. Contagious. Doctor's orders to stay home." Yuna felt anger flare. "You don't get to make decisions for me. Tonight I do." They stared at each other across the small room. The silence stretched between them. 1 week, Yuna said finally. "Then we leave. No matter what." "Agreed." Min-jae bowed slightly to Halmioni, nodded to Yuna, walked toward the main entrance. "Mr. Ryu," Halmioni called after him. He stopped, turned. "Thank you for taking care of my granddaughter." Something shifted in his expression, almost like pain. "Sleep well, Mrs. Choi." The front door closed behind him. Yuna listened to his footsteps fade into the Seoul night. Through her window, she could see guards patrolling the garden, silent, professional, making sure nothing disturbed the peace. For the first time in months, Yuna felt safe. She hated how much she liked it. Yuna woke to the sound of running water. For a moment, she couldn't remember where she was. Then yesterday crashed back. The threats, the rescue, the strange man who'd turned her life upside down with quiet commands and expensive medicine. Hermione's voice carried from across the hall. She was talking to someone, laughing, actually laughing. Yuna pulled on yesterday's clothes and padded across the hardwood floor. And then Yuna told her supervisor exactly where he could put his weekend shifts. Hermione was saying, "Such spirit in that girl." Dr. Park sat beside the bed, checking Hermione's vitals. The oxygen mask lay unused on the nightstand. "Good morning," the doctor said to Yuna. "Much better today. Colors normal, breathing clear. The medication you gave her is working exactly as intended." Dr. Park packed her stethoscope. "Continue the supplements. I'll check again tomorrow. How much do we owe you?" "Nothing. I told you yesterday." But Yuna caught the quick glance toward the doorway. Someone else was paying Dr. Park's bills. After the doctor left, Yuna helped Hermione wash and dress. Her grandmother moved easier this morning. The grey pallor was gone from her cheeks. "Such a nice house," Hermione said. "Your friend has good taste." "He's not my friend." "Then what is he?" Yuna didn't have an answer. Complicated seemed inadequate. Dangerous, felt unfair after everything he'd done for them. "He likes you," Hermione said. "Don't be ridiculous." "These old eyes still work, Yuna. He looks at you like a man who's forgotten how to look at anything else." Heat rose in Yuna's cheeks. "You're imagining things. Maybe, but I raised 4 children. I know the difference between duty and interest." Madame Hyrin appeared with breakfast on a wooden tray. Rice porridge, pickled vegetables, green tea in delicate ceramic cups. "Mr. Ryu asked me to show you the security protocols," Hyrin said to Yuna, "when you're ready." "Security protocols?" "How to move safely through the house. What to do if anything seems wrong." Yuna's stomach tightened. "You think something might go wrong?" "I think preparation prevents problems." After Hermione settled in the garden room to watch her morning drama, Hyrin led Yuna through the house. "Panic buttons in every room," Hyrin explained, pointing to small devices mounted beside light switches. "Press once for medical emergency, twice for security threat." She showed Yuna the reinforced doors, the hidden cameras, the safe room behind the kitchen pantry. "Your phone now has our private number, Mr. Ryu's direct line. Jiho's emergency contact. This seems like a lot of trouble for 1 week. Mr. Ryu doesn't take chances, not anymore." "What happened before?" Hyrin's expression closed. "That's his story to tell." They stopped in front of a small alcove near the main entrance. A wooden altar held fresh white chrysanthemums. 2 framed photographs faced the flowers, but someone had covered the frames with white cloth. "Memorial corner," Hyrin said quietly. "Mr. Ryu comes here every morning, every evening." "Who died?" "People he couldn't protect." Yuna stared at the covered photographs, felt a chill run down her spine. "That's why he's helping us? Guilt? Maybe. Or maybe he's learned the difference between saving everyone and saving the right people." Yuna's phone buzzed. Text message from an unknown number. "Cute house. Traditional neighborhood. Easy to find." Attached was a photo taken from the street, the Hanok's main gate. The morning shadows exactly matched what Yuna could see from the window. Someone had found them already. "Hyrin," Yuna's voice came out tight. "We need to call Mr. Ryu." Min Jae arrived within 20 minutes. He studied the photo on Yuna's phone without changing expression. "When did this arrive?" he asked. 10 minutes ago. "Show me the exact window where you were standing." Yuna led him to the garden room. He examined the sight lines, the angles, the places where someone could hide with a telephoto lens. "Jiho," he said into his radio. "Perimeter sweep. Focus on the electronics shop across the street." "Copy that, boss." Min Jae handed Yuna's phone back. "Delete the message. Block the number." "Will that help?" "No, but it sends a signal." "What kind of signal?" "That you're not afraid." Yuna deleted the message. Her hands shook slightly. "But I am afraid." "Good. Fear keeps you careful." Hermione appeared in the doorway. "Is everything all right? You both look worried." "Just discussing the weather," Min Jae said. His voice shifted completely. Warm, respectful. "Mrs. Choi, how are you feeling this morning?" "Much better, thanks to you." Hermione studied his face. "But you look tired. Are you eating enough?" "I eat fine." "Sit. I'll make you proper breakfast." "That's not necessary." Nonsense. Halmione shuffled toward the kitchen. Yuna, help me find the rice cooker. Min-jae caught Yuna's eye, raised an eyebrow. She doesn't take no for an answer, Yuna said. I noticed. They followed Halmione to the small kitchen. She commandeered the space immediately, found ingredients, started cooking with the confidence of someone who'd fed a family for 50 years. Tell me about yourself, Mr. Ryu, Halmione said while stirring soup. What kind of work do you do? Security consulting, Min-jae said. I help people solve problems. What kind of problems? Yuna held her breath. The kind that keep people awake at night, Min-jae said. Ah, important work then. Sometimes. Halmione ladled soup into 3 bowls, set them on the small table, gestured for Min-jae to sit. He hesitated, looked uncomfortable with the domestic scene. Sit, Yuna said. She won't stop asking until you eat something. Min-jae removed his jacket, hung it carefully on the chair back, sat down across from Halmione. This smells wonderful, he said. My mother's recipe. Secret ingredient is patience. I'm not good at patience. Most young men aren't. Time teaches it. They ate in comfortable silence. Min-jae complimented the soup twice, asked for seconds, seemed genuinely relaxed for the first time since Yuna met him. You have kind eyes, Halmione told him. Sad, but kind. Min-jae's spoon paused halfway to his mouth. Halmione, Yuna warned. What? I'm old. I can say what I observe. It's all right, Min-jae said. She's not wrong. His phone buzzed. He checked the message. His expression hardened. What is it? Yuna asked. They found the photographer, amateur freelancer. Someone paid him 500,000 won for street surveillance. Did you ask who? He's not in a position to answer questions anymore. Something cold moved through Yuna's chest. What does that mean? It means he took a very long trip to Busan. Paid vacation. Indefinite duration. You didn't kill him? No. I'm not a monster, Miss Choi. Then what are you? Min-jae stood, put his jacket back on. The warm domesticity vanished like smoke. Someone who solves problems, he said. Permanently. He thanked Halmione for breakfast, bowed politely, walked toward the front door. Mr. Ryu, Yuna called after him. He stopped, didn't turn around. The memorial altar. Who's under the white cloth? His shoulders tensed. People I failed to protect. Is that why you're helping us? Maybe. What if you can't protect us either? Now he turned. His dark eyes held hers across the small room. Then I'll die trying. The front door closed behind him. Yuna heard his car start. Drive away. Interesting young man, Halmione said from the kitchen. Dangerous, but interesting. You're not worried? About danger? At my age? Halmione laughed. I'm worried about you, Yuna. You like him. I barely know him. Sometimes that's when liking starts. Yuna's phone buzzed again. Different number this time. 7 days left. Make them count. She deleted the message immediately. Tried to ignore the way her hands trembled. Outside, guards moved through the garden like shadows, protecting her, watching her, making sure she stayed safe inside someone else's cage. 7 days. Then what? Yuna was afraid to find out. That evening, Yuna found herself alone in the main room. Halmione slept peacefully after her medication. Heirin had retired to her private quarters. The house felt empty, but not abandoned. Guards moved past the windows at regular intervals, silent shapes against the garden lighting. Yuna walked to the memorial alcove. The white cloth still covered both photographs. Fresh chrysanthemums replaced yesterday's flowers. Someone had left a small ceramic cup beside the altar, still warm. Green tea, barely touched. I come here twice a day, Min-jae's voice said behind her. Yuna didn't turn around. I didn't hear you come in. Old habit. Moving quietly. From your security consulting. From before that. He stepped beside her, close enough that she could smell his cologne, something clean and expensive. You left tea, Yuna said. She always made tea in the evenings, even when she was tired. She? Min-jae reached for the white cloth, hesitated. His hand shook slightly. Her name was Yoon Seomi. We were married for 2 years. He pulled the cloth away from the first photograph. A young woman smiled from behind the glass. Pretty, gentle eyes. She wore a simple white dress and held a small bouquet of baby's breath. She was pregnant, Min-jae said. 7 months. We'd picked names, painted the nursery, bought a crib. The second frame held an ultrasound image, grainy black and white, a tiny profile visible in the shadows. What happened? Yuna asked quietly. Car bomb. Meant for me. I was supposed to drive that morning, meeting with a client. But the appointment got moved to evening. His voice stayed level, controlled. But Yuna saw his jaw tighten. Xiaomi took the car to her doctor's appointment. Prenatal checkup. Routine visit. I'm sorry. The explosion happened 2 blocks from the clinic. She died instantly. The baby too. Yuna's chest ached. Who did it? Rival family. Thought killing my wife would distract me from business negotiations. Were they right? Min Jae's laugh was bitter. For a while. I stopped eating, stopped sleeping, nearly got myself killed 6 times in 2 months. What changed? I realized grief doesn't honor the dead. Action does. He replaced the white cloth over both photographs. Picked up the teacup. The men who planted the bomb? Yuna asked. Gone. All of them. Their families too. Their associates. Anyone who knew their names. Something cold moved through Yuna's stomach. You killed them. I eliminated the threat. Permanently. That's murder. That's justice. They stood in silence. The memorial flowers seemed to glow in the dim light. Is that what you'll do to the men threatening us? Yuna asked. If necessary. I can't be responsible for people dying. You're not responsible. I am. But, Miss Choi, his voice cut through her protest, these men threatened your grandmother's life to manipulate you. They forged medical documents, attempted extortion, hired surveillance. That doesn't mean they deserve to die. No. But it means they've chosen the risks that come with threatening innocent people. Min Jae drained the teacup, set it back on the altar. I won't let you become another memorial, he said. You barely know me. I know enough. What do you know? You work double shifts to afford medicine for someone you love. You stand up to drunks twice your size rather than accept tips for fake smiles. You delete threatening messages instead of panicking. His dark eyes found hers. You're brave. You're loyal. You're stubborn enough to argue with someone who could have you disappeared. Is that a threat? It's an observation. Yuna felt her pulse quicken. And that makes me worth protecting? That makes you worth knowing. The silence stretched between them, charged, dangerous. I can't replace her, Yuna said softly. I'm not asking you to. Then what are you asking? Min Jae stepped closer, close enough that Yuna had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. Nothing, he said. I'm not asking for anything. Everyone wants something. Not from you. Not like that. Then why? Because when I heard you whisper that curse, when I saw you pull away from that drunk's hands, he paused. I remembered what it felt like to want to protect someone. Yuna's breath caught. That's not a good reason to get involved with dangerous people. No, it's not. But you're doing it anyway. Yes. Why? Because the alternative is watching you die, and I've seen enough good people die for one lifetime. Thunder rolled across Seoul's skyline. Rain began pattering against the windows. 7 days, Yuna said. 7 days, then we go back to our normal lives. If that's what you want. It is. But even as she said it, Yuna wasn't sure she believed it. Min Jae bowed slightly. Good night, Miss Choi. He walked toward the front entrance, paused at the doorway. For what it's worth, he said without turning around, I hope normal is enough for you. The door closed behind him. Yuna stood alone with the covered photographs and the scent of chrysanthemums. Outside, the rain grew heavier. Guards continued their silent patrol. 6 days left. Yuna touched the white cloth covering Seomi's photograph, whispered a prayer for the dead wife and unborn child of a man she barely understood, a man who'd promised to die protecting her, a man she was starting to believe would keep that promise. Yuna woke to the sound of Halmione humming in the garden room. Sunlight streamed through paper screens. The house felt peaceful, almost normal. Her phone showed 2 missed calls from her diner manager. She called back while braiding her hair. Yuna? Thank God. Jin's voice crackled through the speaker. Are you okay? Fine. Just taking care of Halmione. Good. Don't come back yet. What do you mean? Some guys came by yesterday, asking questions. About you. About your family situation. Yuna's chest tightened. What kind of questions? Work schedule, home address, whether you owed money to anyone. What did you tell them? Nothing. But they left cash. Said they'd pay well for information. How much cash? Enough to make people talk. Yuna felt sick. Jin, I threw their money in the trash. But some of the other staff. He paused. Just stay away until this blows over. The line went dead. Yuna stared at her phone. Even her workplace wasn't safe anymore. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. Hirin stood in the doorway with breakfast on a tray. Mr. Ryu asked me to give you this. She handed Yuna a small device. Emergency beacon. Press the button if you feel unsafe. He thinks something might happen today. He thinks preparation prevents panic. After breakfast, Yuna helped Halmione with her morning walk through the garden. Her grandmother moved slowly but steadily. The medication continued to work miracles. I need to pick up your refill, Yuna said. From the pharmacy. I can go a day without it. The doctor said maintain consistent levels. Then ask your young man to send someone. He's not my young man, Halmione smiled. Not yet. Yuna called the number on Min Jae's card. Ji-ho answered on the first ring. Miss Choi, what do you need? Pharmacy run. Halmione's prescription. Address. She gave him the location. I can go myself. Just need an escort. Boss prefers someone else handle errands. I prefer to handle my own family's medication. A pause. Hold, please. 30 seconds later, Min Jae's voice came through the phone. You want to leave the house, he said. I want to get medicine for my grandmother. Ji-ho can handle pharmacy runs. Halmione trusts me with her care. I trust my security team with your safety. It's one pharmacy, 2 blocks away. It's one mistake, permanently fatal. Yuna felt her temper flare. You can't keep me locked up for 6 more days. I can keep you alive for 6 more days. Same thing. No, very different things. The line went quiet. Yuna heard him discussing something with Ji-ho. Compromise, Min Jae said. You go, but with full escort. My rules, my route. What rules? Stay within arm's reach of security. No detours, no conversations with strangers. In and out in 10 minutes. Fine. And Yuna? What? If anything feels wrong, anything at all, you press that beacon. Immediately. How will you know? I'll know. 20 minutes later, Ji-ho arrived with 2 other men. They wore civilian clothes but moved with military precision. Standard formation, Ji-ho explained. You walk between us. I lead. Chen covers the rear. Kim watches the sides. This seems excessive for a pharmacy run. Excessive keeps you breathing. They left through the garden gate. The pharmacy sat exactly where Yuna remembered. Small, crowded, run by an elderly couple who'd known her since childhood. Wait here, Ji-ho said outside the entrance. I'll get the prescription. They need to verify my ID. Then I come with you. The others watch the exits. Inside, Mrs. Park recognized Yuna immediately. How's your grandmother? Much better, thank you. Good. Her new medications are expensive, but effective. Ji-ho stood 3 feet away, close enough to intervene, far enough to allow normal conversation. A red scooter pulled up outside. The engine revved twice. Yuna glanced through the window. Different bike, different rider. But something about the timing felt wrong. She caught Ji-ho's eye, pointed subtly toward the window. He spoke into his radio. Possible tail. Red Honda. License partial Charlie 79. Copy that, came the response. We see him. Mrs. Park handed Yuna the medication bag. Tell your grandmother I asked about her. I will. Thank you. Outside, the scooter was gone, but Yuna spotted it again 2 blocks later, following at a distance, staying just visible enough to be noticed. They want us to see them, Ji-ho said quietly. Why? Psychological pressure. Make you feel watched, hunted. It's working. Her phone buzzed. Text message. Enjoy your walk. Next time bring flowers. Attached was a photo taken from across the street. Yuna walking between the security team. The timestamp showed 30 seconds ago. Ji-ho, she said. He read the message over her shoulder. His expression hardened. Boss needs to see this, he said into his radio. Now. They reached the Hanok without further incident, but Yuna felt eyes on her the entire way. Cameras, watchers, people who knew exactly where she was every moment. Min Jae arrived within minutes of their return. He studied the photo on Yuna's phone. Professional surveillance, he said. Multiple teams, good equipment. How many people are watching us? At least 6, probably more. For how long? Since you arrived here? Maybe longer. Yuna's stomach dropped. They've been watching Halmione too. Yes. Why didn't you tell me? Because knowing doesn't change anything. It only adds stress. I have a right to know. You have a right to stay alive. Everything else is negotiable. Yuna felt trapped, angry, scared. 6 more days of this, maybe less. I'm working on a solution. What kind of solution? Min Jae's expression went cold. The permanent kind. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She showed the screen to Min Jae. He nodded. "Answer it," he said. "But put it on speaker." Yuna pressed the button. "Hello? Miss Choi." The voice was smooth, educated. "How was your pharmacy visit? Who is this?" "Someone who values family, like you do." "What do you want?" "To make sure your grandmother gets the best possible care. Medical bills can be so overwhelming. We're managing fine, for now. But treatment costs add up quickly, especially for elderly patients with chronic conditions." Yuna's hands shook. "Are you threatening her?" "I'm offering assistance, financial support, in exchange for a small favor." "What favor?" "Dinner with a friend, tomorrow evening. Very public, very safe." "What friend?" "Someone eager to meet you, someone who appreciates beauty and courage." Min Jae made a cutting gesture across his throat. "End the call." "I'm not interested," Yuna said. "Think about it. Your grandmother's health, your job security, your future peace of mind." I said no. 24 hours to reconsider. "We'll call again tomorrow." The line went dead. Yuna stared at the phone. "They want me to go somewhere," she said. "I heard. What happens if I refuse?" "They escalate, and if I agree, they kill you quietly instead of loudly." Yuna's breath caught. "You're sure?" "I'm sure." "Then what do we do?" Min Jae's dark eyes held hers. "We eliminate the threat before it eliminates you." "How?" "Leave that to me." But Yuna saw something flicker across his expression. Doubt, fear. The same look he'd worn at the memorial altar. He'd failed to protect someone before. The fear that he might fail again was eating him alive. "Min Jae," she said softly. "What?" "Don't do anything stupid. Please." "Stupid like what?" "Like getting yourself killed trying to save me." Something shifted in his expression. "Would that matter to you?" "Yes." "Why?" Yuna didn't have an answer. Or rather, she had an answer she wasn't ready to give. "Because you're a good man," she said instead. "I'm really not. You are to me." The silence stretched between them, charged with things neither was ready to say. 5 more days, Min Jae said finally. 5 more days. But they both knew 5 days might be 4 days too many. That evening, Madame Hairin found Yuna in the garden room. Halmione slept peacefully beside the window. Her breathing stayed steady and deep. "Mr. Ryu asked me to give you these," Hairin said. She handed Yuna a small device and a set of keys. "Panic button for your pocket. Keys for the main gate and your room." "Keys?" "Mr. Ryu believes locked doors create panic. You should be able to leave any room whenever you want." Yuna turned the keys over in her palm. "He's giving me freedom to leave. He's giving you choice." "Very different thing. What if I choose to actually leave?" "Then you leave. And the protection ends immediately." Hairin sat beside Yuna on the small cushion. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "But Miss Choi, leaving now would be a mistake." "Why?" "Because the men hunting you aren't patient people. They've made threats, issued deadlines. If they don't get what they want soon, they'll take it anyway." "And what do they want?" "You, specifically." "For what?" "Leverage against Mr. Ryu. He's been disrupting their operations, costing them money. They need a way to hurt him without starting a war." Yuna's stomach tightened. "So, I'm bait. You're an opportunity they can't resist. What operations has he been disrupting?" Hairin hesitated. "That's not my story to tell. Everyone keeps saying that. Because some stories require trust to hear them. And I haven't earned that trust? You've been here 2 days, Miss Choi. Trust takes time." Yuna pocketed the keys and panic button. "What's the house schedule?" "Meals at regular times. Medical checks for your grandmother. Security briefings each morning and evening." "Security briefings?" "Threat assessment, route planning, emergency procedures. This feels like prison. Prison doesn't have exit keys." Hairin stood to leave, paused at the doorway. "Miss Choi, Mr. Ryu has protected many people over the years, but he's never given anyone keys before." "What does that mean?" "It means he trusts you not to use them foolishly." After Hairin left, Yuna walked through the house, tested the keys on various doors. They worked everywhere. Front entrance, garden gate, even Min Jae's private office. She stood outside his office for a long time. The key turned easily in the lock. Inside, everything was precise, organized. A desk with neat stacks of papers, a computer with multiple monitors, maps of Seoul marked with colored pins. One wall held surveillance photos, men in expensive suits, license plates, building schematics. Yuna recognized several faces from the restaurant district, businessmen who paid cash and never left tips, the kind of customers who made servers nervous. A file cabinet sat open. The top folder was labeled Huang Family Operations. Yuna opened it. Found photographs of warehouses, shipping manifests, bank account records. Whatever Min-jae did for work, it wasn't simple security consulting. Finding everything you need. Yuna spun around. Min-jae stood in the doorway. His expression was unreadable. I was just using your keys, which I gave you. You're not angry? Should I be? Yuna gestured toward the open file. What is all this? Research. On what? The people who want to hurt you. Min-jae entered the office, closed the file cabinet, sat behind his desk. The Huang family runs protection rackets in 3 districts, he said. Restaurants, small businesses, anyone who can't afford to refuse. And you're trying to stop them? I'm trying to limit their expansion. Why? Because unchecked expansion leads to violence. Violence leads to innocent casualties. Like your wife. Something flickered across his expression. Like my wife. Yuna sat in the chair across from his desk. What aren't you telling me? About what? About why they specifically want me. Why not just threaten some other restaurant worker? Min-jae leaned back in his chair. Because you work at the Golden Dragon. So? The Golden Dragon sits on prime real estate. Corner location, heavy foot traffic, perfect for laundering cash. The owner would never sell. The owner doesn't have a choice. His loan comes due next month. He can't pay. Yuna's chest tightened. What loan? 43 million won. Same amount they claimed your grandmother owed. That's not a coincidence. No, it's not. They're forcing him to sell. They're forcing him to sign over the business in exchange for debt forgiveness. And then what? Then they gut the restaurant, turn it into a front for moving dirty money. Yuna felt sick. What about the staff? The employees? Unemployed, blacklisted, forgotten. How do you know all this? Because I've seen it happen 12 times in the past 2 years. Min-jae opened a different file, showed her photographs of empty storefronts, boarded windows. For sale, signs covered in graffiti. Each one used to be a family business, restaurant, dry cleaner, convenience store. And you couldn't stop it? I stopped some, lost others. How do you stop them? By making their operations too expensive to maintain. What does that mean? Min-jae's expression went cold. It means their enforcers disappear. Their money transfers get intercepted. Their business partners develop sudden health problems. You're talking about crime. I'm talking about justice. Those aren't the same thing. Sometimes they are. Yuna studied his face, the quiet certainty, the absolute lack of doubt. You're not just security consulting, she said. No, you're vigilante justice. I'm someone who solves problems the legal system can't touch. And that makes you different from them. How? I don't target innocent people. Who decides who's innocent? I do. The blunt honesty hit Yuna harder than any lie would have. He wasn't pretending to be a hero, wasn't claiming moral authority. He was simply a man who decided the world needed fixing, and he was willing to break it further to make it work. The men threatening us, Yuna said. You're planning to kill them, if necessary. What if I asked you not to? I'd ask why. Because murder is wrong, even when it saves innocent lives. Even then, Min-jae nodded slowly. Then, I'd find another way. You'd change your entire plan? Because I asked? Yes. Why? Because you asked. The simplicity of it stole her breath. No grand declarations, no dramatic promises, just quiet certainty. What other way? She asked. Public exposure, financial ruin, legal prosecution. That would work? Eventually. How eventually? 6 months. Maybe a year. And in the meantime, you stay under protection. Halmione gets the care she needs. You both stay alive. Yuna imagined a year of safe houses, guards, locked doors and emergency beacons. A year of Min-jae's steady presence, his quiet protection, his dark eyes watching her like she was the only thing in the world worth saving. I can't ask you to change your entire life for me, she said. You're not asking. I'm offering. Why? Because the alternative is unacceptable. What alternative? Living in a world where you don't exist. The words hung between them. Simple, devastating. Yuna's breath caught. Min-jae. I know. Too much, too fast, too complicated. Yes, but not untrue. No, not untrue. They stared at each other across the desk. The surveillance photos seemed to watch them from the walls. 4 more days, Una said softly. 4 more days. But neither of them believed 4 days would be enough. Una woke to the sound of her phone ringing. The clock showed 6 a.m. Grey dawn light filtered through paper screens. Unknown number, she answered without thinking. Hello? Good morning. Miss Choi. The voice was the same from yesterday, smooth, patient. Have you considered our offer? Una sat up in bed. I told you no. Circumstances change. Your restaurant terminated your employment yesterday evening. Her stomach dropped. What? Check your messages. Una pulled the phone away from her ear. 3 texts waited. All from her manager. Sorry, Una. Had to let you go. Effective immediately. Too much drama lately. Bad for business. Your final check is ready for pickup. You got me fired, she said into the phone. We suggested you might be unreliable. Distracted by family problems. Prone to associating with dangerous people. You bastards. Language, Miss Choi. We're simply trying to help you understand your situation. What situation? Unemployment. Medical bills. No income. No prospects. Una felt trapped, angry, desperate. What do you want? Dinner tonight, 8 p.m., Schiller Hotel restaurant. Very public, very safe. With who? Someone who can solve your financial problems permanently. And if I refuse, your grandmother's medication becomes very difficult to obtain. Prescription errors happen, wrong dosages. Dangerous interactions. Fear shot through Una's chest. We wouldn't want to. But accidents happen when people don't cooperate. The line went dead. Una stared at her phone. Her hands shook. She called Min-jae immediately. They threatened Halmione, she said when he answered. What exactly did they say? She repeated the conversation word for word. Heard him curse softly in the background. The restaurant job? Gone. They convinced my manager I was trouble. Medical threats? Prescription errors. Wrong dosages. How long until you have to answer? Tonight. 8 p.m. Schiller Hotel. Public location. Smart choice on their part. What do we do? You don't go. They'll hurt, Halmione. They'll hurt you if you do go. So we're trapped. No. We're motivated. What does that mean? It means the timeline just accelerated. Min-jae's voice shifted. Became all business. Stay in the house today. Don't answer your phone. Don't go near any windows. What are you going to do? Solve the problem. How? Permanently. Min-jae, you promised. I promised to find another way. This is another way. The call ended. Una stared at her phone. Outside, guards moved through the garden with increased urgency. Hae-rin appeared in her doorway with breakfast. Mr. Ryu said you might need this. She handed Una a sealed envelope along with the food tray. Inside the envelope were credit cards, cash, a new phone, and a handwritten note, in case you need to disappear quickly. The choice is always yours. MJ. Una counted the cash. More money than she'd ever seen in one place. Enough to take Halmione somewhere safe. Start over. Disappear. Completely. How much does he trust me? She asked Hae-rin. Enough to give you the means to betray him. What if I took this money and ran? Then you'd be free. And he'd be alone. Would he come after me? No. He'd let you go. Even if it broke his heart. Especially then. Una tucked the money back into the envelope. Set it on her nightstand. I'm not running, she said. I didn't think you would. Why not? Because you're not the running type. How can you tell? Because you're still here. After Hae-rin left, Una helped Halmione with her morning routine. Her grandmother seemed stronger today, more alert. You look worried, Halmione said while brushing her hair. Just tired. It's more than that. Una sat beside her on the small stool. What would you do if someone threatened to hurt me? Kill them, Halmione said without hesitation. Halmione, what? I'm old, not dead. You threaten my granddaughter, I find a way to stop you, even if it meant breaking the law. Laws protect good people from bad people. When laws fail, good people protect themselves. And if the good people become bad people in the process? Halmione stopped brushing, looked at Una in the mirror. That depends on why they're doing it, and who they become afterward. What do you mean? Your young man killed people before. I can see it in his eyes. How can you tell? Because I've seen that look. During the war, men who did terrible things for good reasons. Does that make it okay? It makes it understandable. Halmione resumed brushing her hair. The question isn't whether he's killed. The question is whether he can live with himself afterward. And can he? That depends on whether he has something worth living for. Yuna's phone buzzed. Text message from Min Jae. Don't worry, I've got this. She wrote back, don't do anything stupid. Define stupid. Getting yourself killed. Not planning to die today. Good. I'd miss you. The response came immediately. Would you? Yuna stared at the screen. 3 little dots appeared and disappeared several times. Finally, she typed, yes, I would miss you. Good to know. Min Jae? Yes? Come back safe. I will. But Yuna had seen the surveillance photos in his office. The maps marked with colored pins, the files full of dangerous people who wanted him dead. Coming back safe might not be entirely up to him. She looked at her reflection in Halmioni's mirror, saw her own fear staring back. 4 days had become 4 hours, and she wasn't ready for any of it. By noon, the house felt different, tense. Guards moved with increased frequency. Hyrin checked locks twice. Even Halmioni seemed to sense the change. Something's happening, she said during lunch. What do you mean? The energy. It's like before a storm. Yuna glanced out the window. Clear blue sky. No clouds. Maybe you're imagining it. At my age, I don't imagine anything. I recognize patterns. Her phone rang. Min Jae. Where are you? Yuna asked. Handling things. How's Halmioni? Fine. Worried about the energy in the house. Smart woman. Tell her she's right to worry. What's happening? Nothing you need to know about. Min Jae. Yuna, listen to me. Whatever happens this afternoon, stay inside. Keep Halmioni away from windows. If anyone comes to the door besides Hyrin or me, use the panic button. You're scaring me. Good. Scared keeps you careful. When will you be back? When it's finished. The line went dead. Yuna stared at her phone. Bad news? Halmioni asked. I don't know. Maybe. Your young man is doing something dangerous. How can you tell? Because men only sound that calm when they're about to do something terrible. At 2 p.m., Jiho arrived with 2 other security men. They spoke quietly with Hyrin in the main room. Yuna caught fragments of conversation. Perimeter secure. Backup protocols. If things go wrong. What's going on? Yuna asked. Precautionary measures, Jiho said. Mister, Ryu wants extra security while he's handling business. What business? The kind that requires his personal attention. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you're getting. Yuna felt frustrated, helpless. Everyone knew what was happening except her. At 3 p.m., her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Text message. Your boyfriend just made a serious mistake. Attached was a photo taken from a car window. Min Jae walking into a downtown office building. The timestamp showed 20 minutes ago. Another message arrived. Want to watch him die? Tune to Channel 7 at 4 p.m. Yuna's hands shook. She showed the messages to Jiho. His expression went stone cold. Boss needs to see this. Now. He called Min Jae. No answer. Tried again. Voicemail. Damn it, Jiho muttered. He spoke into his radio. All units. Boss is compromised. Possible trap situation. Static crackled back. Copy that. What are your orders? Maintain position. Protect the principals. And the boss? He's on his own until we hear otherwise. Yuna grabbed Jiho's arm. We have to help him. We have to protect you. Those are our orders. I don't care about orders. I do. My job is keeping you alive, not rescuing him. He's walking into a trap. Maybe. Or maybe he's setting one. What if you're wrong? Then he dies, doing his job. The cold pragmatism hit Yuna like a slap. You'd just let him die? If it kept you safe? Yes. That's horrible. That's professional. Yuna looked at the TV in the corner. Channel 7 showed afternoon dramas. Nothing unusual. 4 p.m. was 13 minutes away. Change the channel, she told Hyrin. Miss Choi. Change it, please. Hyrin picked up the remote, switched to Channel 7. Still dramas. Cooking shows. Nothing special. At exactly 4 p.m., the programming switched. Emergency broadcast signal. Then live footage from a downtown street. Police cars, ambulances, yellow tape blocking traffic. The news anchor's voice filled the room. Breaking news from downtown Seoul. Reports of an explosion at the Hwang family business offices. Yuna's breath caught. On screen, the same building from the photo. Smoke pouring from third-floor windows. Casualties unknown at this time. Emergency responders are on scene. No, Yuna whispered. Jiho was already on his radio. All units, we have a problem. Building explosion downtown. Boss was last seen entering that location. Copy that. Orders? Stand by. Maintain protection protocols. The news camera zoomed in on the building entrance. Paramedics wheeled out covered gurneys. Too many gurneys. Yuna's phone rang. Unknown number again. Enjoying the show? The smooth voice asked. What did you do? We sent a message about the consequences of interfering with legitimate business. You killed him. We eliminated a threat, just like he eliminated ours. Tears stung Yuna's eyes. You bastards. Language, Miss Choi. Now, about that dinner tonight. Go to hell. 8 p.m. Schiller Hotel. Don't be late. Your grandmother's health depends on it. The line went dead. On TV, firefighters were entering the smoking building. Yuna sank onto the couch. Halmione took her hand. I'm sorry, the old woman whispered. He's gone. Maybe, maybe not. You saw the explosion. I saw a building on fire. That doesn't mean everyone inside died. You're just trying to make me feel better. I'm trying to keep you thinking clearly. Jiho appeared beside them. Miss Choi, we need to discuss next steps. What next steps? Your security, with Mr. Ryu. Unavailable. The situation has changed. Changed how? We can't protect you indefinitely without his direct orders. Yuna stared at him. You're abandoning us. We're following protocol. Mr. Ryu's instructions were specific. If something happened to him, we evacuate you to a secondary location and contact his lawyers. What lawyers? The ones who'll arrange long-term protection. For how long? As long as necessary. Yuna looked at the envelope on her nightstand. The money Min-jae had given her. Enough to disappear. What if we just left? She asked. Tonight. Took the money and ran. Then you'd be on your own. No protection, no support, no backup if they found you. And if we stay? Professional security, safe houses, everything paid for. But no, Min-jae. No, Min-jae. On TV, the news anchor was interviewing witnesses. Heard a loud bang around 4 p.m. Smoke everywhere. Couldn't see who made it out. Yuna closed her eyes, tried to imagine life without his quiet presence, his steady certainty, his dark eyes promising to keep her safe. She couldn't. How long until we have to decide? She asked. 6 hours. Transport leaves at 10 p.m. And the dinner demand? Ignore it. They can't touch you if you're not here. They'll hurt Halmione, not if she comes with you. Yuna looked at her grandmother. Frail, tired, already exhausted by 2 days of disruption. Halmione couldn't handle another move. Then she stays here, under medical supervision. Alone? Safer than the alternatives. Everything was falling apart. Min-jae was gone. The threats were escalating. Her choices were narrowing to nothing. I need some air, Yuna said. She walked to the garden, sat on the small bench beside the memorial altar. The white cloth still covered both photographs. Fresh flowers waited in ceramic vases. I don't know what to do, she whispered to Seomi's covered picture. He tried to protect us, and now he's gone. The garden stayed quiet. No answers in the rustling bamboo. Her phone buzzed. Text message. Not dead yet. Stay put. Trust Jiho. Back soon. MJ. Yuna's heart stopped. She read the message 3 times. Ran back to the house. Jiho! He's alive. She showed him the phone. He studied the number, the timestamp, the message format. Could be fake, he said. They might have his phone. Or he might actually be alive. Maybe. You don't sound convinced. I've seen a lot of people die, Miss Choi. Explosions don't usually leave survivors. But it's possible. Anything's possible. But his expression said he didn't believe it. On TV, the news was showing footage from inside the building. Destroyed offices, broken glass, scorch marks on the walls. No way anyone could have survived that, unless they were never inside to begin with. Yuna spent the next hour staring at her phone. No more messages, no calls. Just silence, and the growing certainty that someone was playing games with her grief. At 6 p.m., Hyrin brought dinner, rice, soup, pickled vegetables, all of Halmione's favorites. Eat something, the older woman urged. You'll need strength for whatever comes next. I'm not hungry. Grief doesn't excuse starvation. Halmione picked at her food but finished most of it. The medications were working. Her color looked good. Her breathing stayed steady. At least something was going right. The transport team arrives at 9 p.m., Jiho announced. 1 hour to pack whatever you can carry. What about Halmione's medicine? Already arranged. 3 months' supply waiting at the safe house. Where is the safe house? Better you don't know until we get there. Yuna looked around the small room. 2 days ago it had felt like a prison. Now it felt like the last place she'd been truly safe. The last place she'd seen Min Jae alive. Her phone buzzed. Her heart jumped. Text message from her old manager. Heard about your troubles. Job is open if you want it back. She deleted the message immediately. 5 minutes later, another text. Different number. Car accident on Highway 1. Single vehicle. No survivors. Check the news. Yuna's hands shook. She turned on the TV. Found the news channel. Breaking story. Fatal car crash outside Seoul. Black sedan. License plate matching Min Jae's business registration. No, she whispered, but there it was. His car. Twisted metal beside the highway. Emergency responders covering something with white sheets. Ji-ho looked over her shoulder at the TV screen. His expression went carefully neutral. Could be staged, he said. 2 different accidents? In 1 day? Stranger things have happened. But his voice lacked conviction. He's really gone, Yuna said. Probably. So we run. We relocate. Temporarily. What's the difference? Running is panicked. Relocation is planned. Yuna packed her few belongings in silence. Clothes. Halmioni's medications. The envelope full of money Min Jae had given her. At 8:30, her phone rang. She almost ignored it. Unknown number. Again. Miss Choi. The smooth voice sounded satisfied. Watching the evening news? What do you want? To offer condolences. Car accidents are tragic. You killed him. We eliminated a problem. Now we can discuss your situation calmly. What situation? Your future. Your grandmother's care. Your financial security. I'm not interested. Consider carefully. Our employer is generous to cooperative people, harsh to difficult ones. Let me guess. Dinner. Tonight. Public place. No longer necessary. We'll send a car tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. To take me where? Somewhere you can be more helpful. The line went dead. They're not giving up, Yuna told Ji-ho. They will once you disappear. And if they find us, they won't. How can you be sure? Because Mr. Ryu planned for this contingency. What contingency? His own death. The blunt words hit Yuna harder than she expected. Tears threatened again. He knew this might happen. He knew it was likely. Anyone who does what he did eventually runs out of luck. And he did it anyway. He did it for you. At 9 p.m. sharp, 2 black SUVs pulled up outside. Professional drivers, tinted windows, government license plates. Time to go, Ji-ho said. Yuna helped Halmioni to her feet. Her grandmother moved slowly but steadily. Where are we going? Halmioni asked. Somewhere safe. Will we see Mr. Ryu again? Yuna's throat tightened. No, we won't. I'm sorry. He was a good man. Yes, he was. They walked through the garden one last time, past the memorial altar with its covered photographs and fresh flowers. Yuna paused beside it, whispered a prayer for the dead wife and unborn child, added a prayer for Min Jae. The SUV doors opened. Ji-ho gestured them inside. As they pulled away from the hanok, Yuna looked back through the rear window. The house grew smaller, disappeared behind other buildings. The last place she'd felt safe was gone. Min Jae was gone. Everything was gone. She leaned back in the leather seat and tried not to think about tomorrow. The safe house sat in Gangnam, high-rise apartment building, doorman, security cameras, the kind of anonymous luxury that money could buy. 23rd floor, Ji-ho explained in the elevator. 2 bedrooms, medical equipment for your grandmother. Kitchen fully stocked. How long can we stay? As long as necessary. Who's paying for it? Mr. Ryu's estate. Everything was arranged in advance. The apartment was beautiful. Modern furniture. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Han River. Halmioni's bedroom had a hospital bed and oxygen equipment. This is too much, Halmioni said. It's what he wanted, Ji-ho replied. Yuna walked to the windows. Seoul spread out below. Millions of lights. Millions of people living normal lives. She felt completely alone. Security protocols, Ji-ho explained. Don't answer the door. Don't use your real names for food delivery. Don't call anyone from your past life. For how long? Until the lawyers say it's safe. What lawyers? Mr. Ryu's. They're handling the transition. What transition? From his protection to permanent solutions, such as new identities, relocation assistance, financial support. Yuna stared at him. You're talking about disappearing forever. I'm talking about staying alive. This isn't living. It's better than dying. After Jiho left, Yuna helped Halmione settle into the new bedroom. Her grandmother seemed tired but comfortable. Strange day, Halmione said. Strange doesn't cover it. Are you going to be all right? I don't know. You cared about him. I barely knew him. Sometimes that doesn't matter. Yuna tucked the blankets around her grandmother's shoulders. Get some sleep. We'll figure out tomorrow when it gets here. She walked to her own room, sat on the edge of the bed, stared at her phone. No new messages, no mysterious calls. For the first time in days, no one was threatening her. It should have felt like relief. Instead, it felt like abandonment. At 11 p.m., her phone rang. Jiho. Problem, he said without preamble. What kind of problem? The explosion downtown. No bodies recovered. What does that mean? Could mean they were vaporized. Could mean they escaped. Which do you think? I think Mr. Ryu was too smart to walk into a trap without backup plans. Yuna's heart jumped. You think he's alive? I think it's possible. Then why haven't we heard from him? Maybe because he can't risk contact yet. Maybe because he's making sure the threat is eliminated before he surfaces. Or maybe because he's dead and we're grasping at hope. Maybe. The call ended. Yuna lay awake, staring at the ceiling. At 1 a.m., she heard footsteps in the hallway outside her apartment door. Slow, measured, too heavy for the elderly woman next door. She grabbed her phone, finger hovering over Jiho's number. The footsteps stopped directly outside her door. 3 soft knocks. Yuna held her breath. 3 more knocks. She crept to the door, looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty. But something small and white lay on the floor outside. Against every security protocol, Yuna opened the door, grabbed the piece of paper, slammed the door shut, unfolded it with shaking hands. If you're reading this, I'm alive. Can't contact you directly yet. Stay put. Trust no one else. We'll come for you when it's safe. MJ. At the bottom, in smaller writing, the memorial flowers are white chrysanthemums. Your grandmother makes excellent soup. Details only the real Minjae would know. Yuna pressed the paper to her chest. For the first time in hours, she could breathe properly. He was alive, somewhere in Seoul, planning something, making moves she couldn't see. But alive? She burned the note in the kitchen sink, watched the ashes spiral down the drain. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new threats, new impossible decisions. But tonight, Minjae was alive, and that was enough. Yuna woke to the sound of her phone buzzing. Multiple messages, all arriving at once. The first was a video file. Unnamed sender. She opened it with trembling fingers. Security camera footage, black and white. Timestamp from yesterday evening. The video showed Minjae walking into the downtown building. Same clothes as the photo, same confident stride. But the timestamp was wrong. 6:17 p.m. The explosion happened at 4 p.m. Either the timestamp was fake, or Minjae had entered the building 2 hours after it exploded. The second message was a link to a news website. Explosion victims identified. 3 Hwang family members confirmed, dead. No mention of Minjae. No unknown casualties. The third message was from an unknown number. Your boyfriend is harder to kill than expected. But everyone has weaknesses. Attached was a photo taken through the apartment window. Halmione sleeping in the hospital bed. The timestamp showed 30 minutes ago. Yuna's blood turned to ice. She called Jiho immediately. They found us, she said. What? Photo of Halmione, taken from outside. They know where we are. That's impossible. This location is classified. I'm looking at the proof. Send it to me. Yuna forwarded the messages, heard Jiho cursing on the other end. How? She asked. Inside information. Someone leaked the safe house location. Who? Working on it. Pack everything. We move in 20 minutes. Where? Different location. More secure. How much more secure? Completely off the books. Mr. Ryu's personal backup. Yuna woke Halmione gently, explained they were moving again. Her grandmother accepted the news with tired resignation. How many times will we run? Halmione asked. Until we don't have to anymore. And when will that be? I don't know. While packing, Yuna's phone rang. The smooth voice from before. Impressive security arrangements, the caller said. But we found you anyway. What do you want? To demonstrate that running is pointless, we have resources, patience, motivation. So, what's your offer? Stop running, accept our protection instead. Your protection? from Mr. Ryu. When he surfaces, he'll be desperate, dangerous, likely to make mistakes that hurt innocent people. You're the ones threatening innocent people. We're businessmen. Mr. Ryu is a killer. Who's the real threat? The logic was twisted but persuasive. Yuna could see how someone might believe it. What kind of protection? She asked. Comfortable accommodation, medical care for your grandmother, employment opportunities. In exchange for what? Information about Mr. Ryu's operations, his associates, his plans. I don't know anything about his operations. You know more than you think. The line went dead. Jiho arrived with a security team. They swept the apartment for surveillance devices, found 3 tiny cameras, one in the living room, one in Halmioni's bedroom, one in the kitchen. Professional grade, Jiho said grimly. Government quality. How did they get inside? Someone let them in. Who has access? Building management, cleaning service, maintenance staff. And your people? My people don't plant surveillance equipment. But his tone suggested he wasn't completely certain. They moved Halmioni to a wheelchair, took the service elevator to the parking garage. 2 identical black SUVs waited beside the loading dock. Decoy protocol, Jiho explained. You go in one vehicle, dummy passengers in the other. What if they follow both? Then we split their resources. The ride took 40 minutes through Seoul traffic. Yuna watched the mirrors constantly. No obvious tails, no motorcycles staying too close. Maybe they'd actually escaped. The new safe house was a traditional hanok, smaller than Min-jae's place, older, but the security upgrades were extensive. Motion sensors in every room, Jiho explained. Panic buttons, reinforced doors, armed response team on standby. For how long? Until Mr. Ryu makes contact. Or until the lawyers arrange permanent relocation. What if he doesn't make contact? Then you start new lives somewhere else. Yuna helped Halmioni settle into the small bedroom. Her grandmother seemed frailer today. The constant moving was taking its toll. Maybe we should accept their offer, Halmioni said quietly. What offer? Protection. From the people who keep finding us. They're the ones we're running from. Are we sure about that? The question hit Yuna like a slap. What do you mean? Your young man kills people. You said so yourself. Maybe the others are just trying to protect themselves. They threatened you, faked medical bills, and he kidnapped us, held us in his house, to keep us safe. Maybe. Or maybe to keep us controlled. Yuna stared at her grandmother. You don't believe that. I don't know what to believe anymore. That evening, while Halmioni slept, Yuna sat in the garden. The memorial altar from the other house was gone. This place had no ghosts, no covered photographs, no reminder of the people Min-jae had failed to save. Her phone buzzed. Text message from an unknown number. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Hangang Park, south entrance, come alone. She called Jiho. Another demand, she said. What kind? Meeting, public place, tomorrow morning. You're not going. What if it's Min-jae? What if it's a trap? How do we tell the difference? We don't take the risk. But Yuna was tired of running, tired of hiding, tired of letting other people make decisions about her life. What if I want to go? Then I stop you. By force? If necessary, you'd hold me prisoner. I'd keep you alive. Same thing? No. Very different things. That night, Yuna lay awake planning. The garden had a back gate. She'd seen Jiho test it during his security sweep. It opened onto a narrow alley. From there, she could reach the subway station. Be at Hangang Park in 40 minutes. Find out who was sending the messages. Take control of her own life. At 3 a.m., she slipped out of bed, dressed quietly, left a note for Halmioni. Gone to end this. Back soon. I love you. The back gate opened silently. The alley was empty. Seoul's neon signs flickered in the distance. For the first time in days, Yuna was completely alone. It felt terrifying and liberating at the same time. She started walking toward the subway station. 7 hours until the meeting. Time to find some answers. Hangang Park at 10 a.m. buzzed with morning joggers and elderly Tai Chi groups. Yuna sat on a bench near the south entrance, watching every face that passed. Her phone showed 12 missed calls from Jiho. She turned off the ringer but kept the screen visible. At exactly 10:15, a black sedan pulled up to the curb. The rear window rolled down halfway. Miss Choi. The voice was familiar but not the smooth caller from before. Please get in. A different man. Older. Expensive suit. He kept his hands visible on the window frame. Who are you? Yuna asked. Someone with answers you need. What answers? About Mr. Ryu? About why he really took you from that apartment? Against every instinct, Yuna approached the car. The interior smelled of leather and cologne. 2 men in the front seats, 1 driver, 1 security. Your boyfriend isn't who you think he is, the older man said as the car pulled into traffic. He's not my boyfriend, isn't he? You risked everything to find out if he was alive. Yuna's chest tightened. Where is he? Safe. For now. What does that mean? It means his survival depends on your cooperation. The car turned toward downtown Seoul, away from the safe house, away from any backup Jiho might have arranged. What kind of cooperation? Yuna asked. Information. About his operations, his contacts, his resources. I already told your people I don't know anything. You know more than you realize. They pulled into an underground parking garage. Corporate building. Glass and steel rising toward cloudy sky. Where are we going? To see your grandmother. Yuna's blood froze. What? She's here. Safe. Comfortable. Receiving excellent medical care. You took her from the safe house? We liberated her from kidnappers. The elevator rose to the 15th floor. Glass-walled offices. Professional staff in expensive clothes. Everything clean and legitimate. Pharmaceutical company, the older man explained. We develop treatments for cardiac conditions. What does that have to do with Halmione? We've been monitoring her case. Very interested in how she's responded to certain experimental medications. What medications? The ones Mr. Ryu provided. Very rare, very expensive, not available through normal channels. They stopped outside a corner office. Through the glass wall, Yuna could see Halmione sitting in a comfortable chair. A doctor in a white coat examined her with gentle efficiency. She looks good, the older man said. Better than she has in months. What did you do to her? Nothing. What did he do to her? He saved her life. He made her dependent on black market medications. Experimental drugs with unknown side effects. Yuna watched the doctor check Halmione's blood pressure. Her grandmother was smiling, chatting, looking healthier than she had in years. The medications are working, Yuna said. For now. But what happens when they stop? What are the long-term consequences? What happens if the supply gets cut off? You're trying to confuse me. I'm trying to educate you. The older man handed her a file folder. Inside were medical reports, test results, chemical analyses. The drugs Mr. Ryu gave your grandmother are still in trial phases. Human testing is limited. Long-term effects, unknown. But they're helping her. They're masking symptoms while potentially causing other problems. Yuna scanned the medical reports. Technical language she didn't understand. Charts and graphs showing chemical interactions. Our doctors can provide safe alternatives, the man continued. FDA approved, properly tested. No experimental risks. What's the catch? No catch, just cooperation. What kind of cooperation? Help us find Mr. Ryu. Help us understand what he's planning. I told you I don't know his plans. Then help us find someone who does. Through the glass wall, Halmione was laughing at something the doctor said. Her color looked good. Her breathing seemed easy. Can I talk to her? Yuna asked. Of course. They entered the office. Halmione's face lit up when she saw Yuna. There you are. I was worried when you disappeared this morning. How did you get here? Nice men came to the house. Said you'd sent them to bring me somewhere safer. Yuna felt sick. I didn't send anyone. Oh. Halmione's expression clouded. Then who did? People who want to help, the older man said smoothly. I'm Dr. Chung. I run this facility. Such a nice place, Halmione said. Better than a hospital. And the medication they gave me. I feel wonderful. What medication? Yuna asked. Something for my heart. Much better than those pills Mr. Ryu provided. Dr. Chung handed Yuna a prescription bottle. Standard cardiac medication. Properly tested. Government approved. Yuna read the label. Recognized some of the chemical names from the reports she'd studied with Min Jae. This is what Halmione was taking before. It wasn't working, because the dosage was wrong. We've adjusted it based on her current condition. And if it stops working, we have other options. Safe options. Unlike Mr. Ryu's experimental drugs, added the older man. Yuna looked at her grandmother. Happy, comfortable, trusting these people completely. What do you really want? She asked Dr. Chung. To prevent a war. What war? Between Mr. Ryu and the families he's been targeting. His vigilante activities have disrupted legitimate businesses, caused unnecessary violence. Legitimate businesses like loan sharking, legitimate businesses like pharmaceutical development, import-export, real estate investment. You're talking about organized crime. I'm talking about economic stability. Mr. Ryu's interference has cost hundreds of jobs, disrupted supply chains, created chaos in established markets. Yuna felt the ground shifting under her feet. Everything she thought she understood was being redefined. He told me you were criminals. He told you what he needed you to believe. And you're telling me what you need me to believe. I'm telling you the truth. How do I know what the truth is? Dr. Chung gestured toward Hermione. Your grandmother is healthier today than she's been in months, using safe, legal medication, receiving professional care. In exchange for what? Your help locating Mr. Ryu, so you can kill him, so we can negotiate a ceasefire. What kind of ceasefire? He stops interfering with business operations. We stop pursuing legal remedies for his criminal activities. Legal remedies? Murder charges, extortion, kidnapping, property destruction. The older man opened a second file. Police reports, arrest warrants, photographs of crime scenes. Your boyfriend has been busy, he said. Yuna looked through the file, recognized some locations from the surveillance photos in Min-jae's office, but these showed the aftermath. Bodies, blood, destruction. He did all this? Over the past 2 years, 18 confirmed kills. Property damage in the millions. You're lying. I'm documenting. Her phone buzzed. Text message. Don't believe them. Everything they're showing you is fake. Trust me, MJ. She showed the message to Dr. Chung. Anyone can send a text, he said. But can they provide medical care for your grandmother? Can they offer you legitimate employment? Can they guarantee your safety without requiring you to live in hiding? Yuna felt dizzy, confused, pulled between competing versions of reality. I need some air, she said. Of course. The garden terrace is lovely this time of day. Doctor. Chung led her to a rooftop garden, souls spread out below. Traffic hummed in the distance. Take your time, he said. Decide what you believe. Decide who you trust. And if I choose wrong, then people die unnecessarily. He left her alone with the city view and her impossible choice. 10 minutes later, her phone rang. Unknown number. Yuna. Min-jae's voice. Quiet. Urgent. Where are you? I don't know. Some pharmaceutical building downtown. Get out. Now. They have Hermione. I'll get her back. How? Leave that to me. Just get to street level and start walking south. Min-jae. Do you trust me? I don't know who to trust anymore. Then trust this. If you stay in that building, you'll disappear. Permanently. The line went dead. Yuna stared at her phone. Through the glass doors, she could see Dr. Chung talking to his security team. They kept glancing in her direction, making plans, preparing for something. Yuna walked calmly toward the elevator, pressed the button, waited. The doors opened. She stepped inside, pressed the button for the parking garage. As the elevator descended, she heard footsteps running in the hallway above. Someone was coming after her. The parking garage was empty, except for expensive cars and fluorescent lighting. Yuna ran toward the street entrance, high heels clicking on concrete. Behind her, the elevator opened again. Multiple sets of footsteps echoed off the walls. Miss Choi, please wait. Dr. Chung's voice carried across the garage. We're not finished talking. Yuna reached the street entrance. The door was locked from inside. Electronic keypad. No obvious way to override it. Miss Choi, you're making this more difficult than necessary. She turned around. Dr. Chung and 3 security guards approached slowly. Professional, non-threatening, but blocking her escape route. We had an agreement, Dr. Chung said. We had a conversation about your grandmother's care, about your future security. You kidnapped her. We rescued her from kidnappers. There's a difference. One of the security guards moved to flank her left side. Another circled right. Standard containment tactics. Where is she now? Yuna asked. Safe, comfortable, receiving excellent care. I want to see her. After we finish our discussion. About what? About Mr. Ryu's current location. A car door slammed somewhere in the garage. Then another. Footsteps approached from the opposite direction. 3 men in dark suits walked toward them. Military bearing. Professional equipment. One of them spoke into a radio. Extraction team in position, he said. Dr. Chung's expression changed. This is a private facility. You have no authority here. We have all the authority we need. the lead man replied. He handed Dr. Chung a folded paper. Legal document, official seals, search warrant, signed this morning. For what? Unlawful detention, human trafficking, distribution of controlled substances. Dr. Chung's face went pale. That's ridiculous. Tell it to the prosecutor. More footsteps echoed through the garage. Police officers in uniform, paramedics with medical equipment. Where's the elderly woman? The lead man asked Yuna. Upstairs, 15th floor, corner office. Medical condition? Cardiac issues. She needs her medication. We'll take care of her. 2 paramedics ran toward the elevators. The police officers followed. Miss Choi, the lead man said. Are you injured? No, just confused. Understandable. We'll explain everything once we secure the scene. Dr. Chung backed toward his car. This is a mistake. We run a legitimate business. Running illegal medical experiments on elderly patients? The lead man's voice was cold. Distributing untested pharmaceuticals? Kidnapping vulnerable people? We were providing care. You were providing leverage against someone who could expose your entire operation. One of the security guards reached for his jacket. The extraction team moved faster. In seconds, all 3 guards were on the ground, zip-tied, disarmed. Dr. Chung, the lead man said, you're under arrest. For what? We'll start with kidnapping and work our way up to human trafficking. Sirens wailed outside. More police units arriving. This was bigger than just rescuing Halmioni. How did you find us? Yuna asked. We've been watching this building for weeks, waiting for enough evidence to move. Evidence of what? Pharmaceutical fraud, human experimentation, money laundering. The elevator doors opened. Paramedics emerged with Halmioni on a gurney. She looked alert but confused. Yuna ya? She called. What's happening? We're going home, Halmioni. Which home? A safe one. The lead man gestured toward a black SUV. Transport's waiting. We'll take you both to a secure location. Who are you? Yuna asked. Financial Crimes Division. We've been investigating pharmaceutical fraud for 6 months. And Min-jae is our primary witness. They helped Halmioni into the SUV. Her color looked good. The new medication seemed to be working. Will she be all right? Yuna asked the paramedic. Blood pressure normal, heart rate steady. Whatever they gave her, it's not harmful. But it's not the experimental drugs? Standard cardiac medication, properly prescribed, legally obtained. The SUV pulled onto Seoul streets. Police cars surrounded Dr. Chung's building. News vans were arriving. What happens now? Yuna asked. Debriefing. Medical evaluation for your grandmother. Then witness protection until the trial. Trial? Dr. Chung's operation was bigger than just pharmaceutical fraud. Human trafficking, organ harvesting, medical experimentation on vulnerable populations. Yuna felt sick. And they wanted me to help them? They wanted you to help them find our primary witness, Min-jae. He's been working with us for 8 months, gathering evidence, building cases, risking his life to expose their operations. So he's not a criminal. He's a former criminal who decided to become a solution. The SUV stopped outside a medical facility. Real doctors, real nurses, government identification visible everywhere. We'll take good care of your grandmother, the lead man promised. Full evaluation, proper medication, comfortable accommodations. How long? Until the trials are finished. 6 months, maybe longer. And then? Then you both get new lives, new identities, fresh start somewhere safe. Yuna watched Halmioni disappear into the medical facility, surrounded by professionals who actually cared about her health. For the first time in weeks, her grandmother was truly safe. Now she just had to find out if Min-jae was still alive to share that safety with them. The debriefing room was small and institutional. Grey walls, fluorescent lighting, a table with water bottles and legal documents. Mr. Ryu will join us shortly, the lead investigator said. Agent Kim, according to his business card. He's finishing medical evaluation. Medical evaluation? Standard procedure after an undercover operation. Psychological assessment, physical examination. Was he injured? Nothing serious. Cuts and bruises from yesterday's building incident. The explosion was real, very real. 3 dead, building severely damaged. But Min-jae wasn't inside. He was, but he had advance warning. Evacuated through service tunnels before the blast. Agent Kim opened a file folder. Mr. Ryu has been working with us since his wife's death, providing intelligence on organized crime families. You knew about Xiaomi? We investigated the car bombing. Mr. Ryu approached us afterward, offered to help build cases against the people responsible. In exchange for what? Legal immunity for his previous activities, witness protection, financial support for his operations. What previous activities? Money laundering, extortion, violence for hire. Yuna's stomach tightened. So he was a criminal for 3 years. After his wife died, he wanted out. We offered him a way. The door opened. Min-jae walked in, followed by a medical technician. He wore clean clothes but looked exhausted, bandage on his left temple. His right hand was wrapped in gauze. Yuna, he sat across from her. Are you all right? I'm fine. Confused, but fine. Your grandmother? Getting proper medical care. Finally. Good. Agent Kim cleared his throat. Mr. Ryu, we need to debrief the pharmaceutical operation. Later, Min-jae said. I need to talk to Miss Choi first. The operation is time-sensitive. 5 minutes. Agent Kim looked annoyed but stood to leave. 5 minutes. Then we finish this. The door closed behind him. Yuna and Min-jae were alone. You lied to me, she said. About what? Everything. Who you are, what you do, why you're helping us. I told you I solved problems. That was true. You didn't mention you were working for the police. I couldn't. Too many leaks in the system, too many people on their payroll. So you let me think you were a criminal. I was a criminal. Until 18 months ago. And now? Now, I'm someone trying to make amends. Yuna studied his face. The bandages, the exhaustion, the quiet certainty that never wavered. Why didn't you tell me the truth? Because the truth was dangerous. If you'd known I was working with law enforcement, they would have killed you immediately. Instead of trying to kidnap me, they needed you alive to get to me. If they'd known you couldn't provide information, he shrugged. Different strategy. Same outcome. Death. Probably. So you protected me by lying to me. I protected you by giving you plausible deniability. Yuna felt tired, overwhelmed. Everything she thought she understood had been redefined twice in one day. What happens now? She asked. Trials. Testimony. Justice for the people they hurt. How long? 6 months for the major cases. Maybe longer for appeals. And then you're free to live your life however you want. What about us? Min-jae was quiet for a long moment. What about us? Do we have an us? Or was that just part of the cover story? There was no cover story about us. Then what was there? Attraction, complication, timing. That couldn't have been worse. And now? Now the complications are resolved. The timing is better. But you've seen what my life involves. Violence, deception, constant danger. That was undercover work. What's your real life going to be? I don't know yet. Then how can I decide if I want to be part of it? Min-jae leaned forward. His dark eyes held hers across the small table. You can't. And I can't ask you to. What if I want to decide anyway? Then you should wait until you know who you're deciding about. I know who you are. Do you? 3 days ago you thought I was a criminal. This morning you thought I was dead. 10 minutes ago you thought I was lying about everything. And now? Now you know I'm someone who used to be lost, who's trying to find his way back to being human. The words hung between them. Honest, vulnerable, completely unlike the controlled man she'd first met. How long will that take? She asked. I don't know. What do you know? I know that watching you walk away will be the hardest thing I've ever done, and I know that asking you to stay would be selfish. What if I don't want to walk away? Then I'd ask you to wait, until I figure out who I'm going to be when this is over. How long? However long it takes. Agent Kim knocked on the door. Time's up. Min-jae stood. Think about it. Don't decide anything today. Min-jae, he paused at the door. For what it's worth, Yuna said, I think I know who you are. You're someone who keeps promises, even when it costs you everything. Is that enough? It's a start. After he left, Yuna sat alone in the debriefing room. Through the window, she could see Seoul's afternoon traffic. Normal people living normal lives. Soon she could be one of them, free to choose her own path, her own future, with or without the complicated man who'd saved her life by turning his own upside down. The choice was entirely hers. For the first time in weeks, that felt terrifying and liberating at the same time. The safe house was different this time. Government facility, professional security, medical staff for Halmioni's ongoing care. Much better, Halmioni said from her hospital bed. Real doctors, proper medication, no one trying to trick me into signing papers. How are you feeling? Stronger every day. The new medicine works well. It's not new medicine. It's the old medicine, properly prescribed. Ah, so the experimental drugs were the problem? The experimental drugs were never real. It was all part of the deception. Yuna sat beside the bed. For 3 days, she'd been trying to sort truth from lies. The task felt impossible. "Have you seen your young man?" Hermione asked. "He's not my young man. Not yet. But he could be. It's complicated. Love usually is." "Who said anything about love?" Hermione smiled. "No one had to say it. It's written all over your face." That evening, Agent Kim brought updates on the investigation. 17 arrests so far. 3 pharmaceutical companies shut down. 2 money laundering operations exposed. What about Dr. Chung? Cooperating fully, providing names and evidence in exchange for reduced charges. And the people who threatened us? In custody, facing human trafficking charges. How much danger were we actually in? Significant. They had orders to eliminate you if you couldn't be controlled. Yuna shivered. When will the trials start? 3 months, maybe 4. And then we're free? Then you're free. Agent Kim handed her a folder. Witness protection options, new identities, relocation assistance. Yuna opened the file. Photographs of small towns, apartment listings, job placement opportunities. What if we don't want to relocate? Seoul might not be safe. Too many people know your faces. For how long? Years. Maybe permanently. And Min-jae? Mr. Ryu will have similar options. Different locations, obviously. Obviously. That night, Yuna walked the facility's small garden. Security guards maintained discreet distance, giving her space while ensuring safety. Her phone buzzed. Text message from Min-jae. How's Hermione? Better every day. Good. And you? Deciding things. What kind of things? Whether to disappear or stay and fight. Fight for what? The right to live my own life. In my own city. On my own terms. That's dangerous. Everything worth doing is dangerous. A long pause. Then, want company while you decide. Are you allowed to leave the facility? For medical appointments. Exercise. Fresh air. This qualifies as fresh air? If you're there, yes. 20 minutes later, Min-jae appeared at the garden entrance. He wore civilian clothes, jeans, dark sweater. The bandages were gone from his face and hand. You look better, Yuna said. I feel human again. Good. I like you, human. They walked the garden paths in comfortable silence. The evening was cool but pleasant. Seoul's lights glittered beyond the facility walls. Agent Kim showed you the relocation options, Min-jae asked. Small towns, new identities, quiet lives. Sounds appealing, does it? To you. Sometimes, when I'm tired of looking over my shoulder. And other times I think about what we'd be giving up, such as choice, the right to be ourselves instead of manufactured identities. Is that worth the risk? I don't know. Is it worth it to you? Yuna considered the question. 3 weeks ago, I was a waitress, living paycheck to paycheck, worried about medical bills and threatening phone calls. And now? Now I'm someone who survived human traffickers and pharmaceutical fraud, someone who stood up to criminals and lived to tell about it, someone stronger than she thought she was. Yes, so what do you want to do with that strength? Use it, instead of hiding it in some small town where no one knows my real name. Min-jae stopped walking, turned to face her. That's a dangerous choice. Most worthwhile choices are. They'll keep coming. Different people, different threats. It never really ends. Then we'd better get good at stopping them. We. Yuna felt her pulse quicken. If you want there to be a we, I want there to be a we more than I want safety. Even though it's complicated, because it's complicated. They were standing close now, close enough that Yuna could see the exhaustion in his eyes, the hope, the fear that she might change her mind. What would a we look like? She asked. I don't know. I've never done this before. Been in a relationship? Been in a relationship built on truth instead of deception. Want to try? Yes, even if we're terrible at it. Especially then. Min-jae reached for her hand, threaded their fingers together. There's something I need to tell you, he said. What? I'm falling in love with you. Have been since you cursed at that drunk in the restaurant. Yuna's breath caught. That's fast. Too fast? Perfect timing, actually. Why? Because I'm falling in love with you too. Have been since you drove a knife into that planter and promised to keep us safe. Even though I'm complicated? Because you're complicated. They stood in the garden, holding hands, watching Seoul's lights twinkle beyond the walls. "So what now?" Min-jae asked. "Now we finish the trials, expose the criminals, make sure justice happens. And then? Then we go home, to our city, our life, our choice. Together? Together. Even if it's dangerous? Especially if it's dangerous." Min-jae smiled, the first real smile she'd seen from him. Unguarded, hopeful, human. "I can live with dangerous," he said. "Good, because I can't live with boring. Then we're perfectly matched." "Yes, we are." The security guards maintained their discreet distance. The facility walls kept them safe. But for the first time since this all began, Yuna felt like she was exactly where she belonged. Complicated, dangerous, uncertain, perfect. The trial lasted 6 weeks. Every day, Yuna and Min-jae sat in the witness gallery, watching prosecutors dismantle the pharmaceutical fraud operation piece by piece. Dr. Chung testified for 3 days, explained the medical experimentation, the falsified records, the targeting of vulnerable elderly patients. "We needed test subjects who wouldn't be missed," he said from the witness stand. "People whose families were desperate enough to accept any help." "Like Mrs. Choi?" the prosecutor asked. "Exactly like Mrs. Choi." Yuna felt sick watching him describe Halmioni as disposable, a convenient test subject for illegal drugs. Min-jae's testimony took 2 days. He explained the money laundering, the protection rackets, the systematic targeting of small businesses. They would create artificial debt, he said, then offer to forgive it in exchange for business ownership. And if the business owners refused? Accidents happened, fires, vandalism. Sometimes family members got hurt. "You participated in these activities?" "For 3 years, until my wife and unborn child were killed by a car bomb meant for me. That changed your perspective. It made me realize I was on the wrong side of a war I'd helped create." The defense attorneys tried to paint Min-jae as an unreliable witness, a criminal seeking revenge against former associates. "You've killed people," the defense attorney said. "Yes. How many?" 18, that I'm certain of. "And you expect this jury to trust your testimony?" "I expect this jury to judge the evidence. Not the messenger, but the messenger's credibility matters." "Then judge me on this. Every person I killed was someone who hurt innocent people for money. I'm not proud of what I did, but I'm not ashamed of stopping them." The prosecutor objected. The judge sustained. But the point was made. Min-jae had been a killer. Now he was someone trying to make amends. During cross-examination, Yuna was asked to verify basic facts: her grandmother's medical condition, the threats they'd received, the timeline of events. "Did Mr. Ryu ever threaten you or your grandmother?" the defense attorney asked. "No." "Did he ever restrict your movement against your will?" "He gave me keys to every door in his house. He told me I could leave whenever I wanted." "But you stayed, because leaving would have gotten us killed." "How do you know that?" "Because the people you're defending told me so, repeatedly. They offered you protection. They offered me imprisonment. There's a difference." After 6 weeks, the verdicts came back. Guilty on all major charges. Dr. Chung got 15 years. His associates got between 5 and 12 years each. The pharmaceutical companies were shut down, their assets seized, compensation funds established for victims. "It's over," Agent Kim told them outside the courthouse. "Really over?" Yuna asked. "Really over. The major players are in prison, their operations are dismantled, their money is frozen. What about retaliation? Unlikely. Everyone who might want revenge is either in prison or dead. So we're free. You're free." That evening, they sat in Halmioni's hospital room. She was scheduled for discharge the next day. Full recovery, clean bill of health. "What will you do now?" she asked Min-jae. "Start over, find legitimate work, try to build a normal life." "With Yuna? If she'll have me." "And you?" Halmioni asked Yuna. "What will you do?" "Go back to work, take care of you, see what normal feels like." "With Mr. Ryu?" "With Min-jae." "Yes," Halmioni smiled. "Good. You deserve happiness. What about you? What do you want to do?" "Go home, to our apartment, cook proper meals, watch my dramas." "Are you sure? We could relocate somewhere safer." "At my age, home is more important than safety." That night, Yuna and Min-jae walked Seoul's streets without security escorts for the first time in months. The city felt different, familiar, but changed. "Nervous?" Min-jae asked. "A little. You?" "Terrified." "Of what?" "Of not knowing how to be normal. Want to practice?" "How?" Dinner, normal restaurant, normal conversation, normal people doing normal things. They found a small bulgogi place near Hongdae. College students and office workers sharing tables and laughs. The waitress recognized Yuna from the news coverage. "You're the girl who brought down those pharmaceutical criminals," she said. "I'm just someone who needed medical care for her grandmother." "Still, you're brave." After the waitress left, Min-jae reached across the table for Yuna's hand. "She's right," he said. "You are brave. So are you. I'm someone trying to be worth your bravery. You already are." "How can you tell?" "Because you chose justice over revenge, truth over safety, love over fear." "Love? Love. I love you too." "I know." "How?" "Because you're here, with me, building something normal out of everything complicated." "Is this what normal feels like?" "I think so. Want to keep trying? Every day. Even when it's boring?" "Especially when it's boring." They finished dinner and walked home through Seoul's neon-lit streets. Normal couple, normal evening, normal life finally within reach. Complex, uncertain, beautiful. Everything they'd fought to protect. 3 months later, Yuna stood in the bathroom of their new apartment, staring at her reflection. The woman looking back seemed stronger, more certain, still recognizably herself, but changed by everything they'd survived. "You ready?" Min-jae called from the bedroom. "Almost." Today was Halmione's birthday, 89 years old. They were having dinner at her favorite restaurant. Normal family celebration. Normal problems like whether to order extra banchan and which drama to watch afterward. Yuna smiled at her reflection. Normal felt good. The apartment was small but comfortable. 2 bedrooms. Garden view. Close enough to Halmione's place for daily visits but far enough for privacy. Min-jae worked security consulting now. Legitimate business. Background checks and risk assessment for corporate clients. He was good at spotting threats and designing protection protocols. Yuna had returned to restaurant work but at a better place. Family-owned, fair wages, respectful customers. The kind of job that felt like choice instead of desperation. "Ready," she said, emerging from the bathroom. Min-jae looked up from his laptop, still wearing the serious expression he got when reviewing case files, but it softened when he saw her. "Beautiful," he said. "Charming liar, honest observer. Same thing. Not even close." They drove to Halmione's apartment. She lived independently now but accepted help with shopping and medical appointments. Stubborn independence balanced with practical support. "Yuna ya, Mr. Ryu," she called when they knocked. "Come in." "Come in." She wore her best hanbok for the occasion, hair neatly styled, makeup carefully applied, looking like a woman celebrating 8 decades of survival. "Happy birthday, Halmione." Yuna kissed her cheek. "Many returns," Min-jae bowed politely. "Such formal children. Sit. Tell me about your week." They shared news over tea, work stories, neighborhood gossip, the comfortable rhythms of people who'd chosen to be family. "Any word from Agent Kim?" Halmione asked. "Final sentencing next month," Min-jae said. "Dr. Chung will serve the full 15 years. No early parole. Good. Evil should have consequences. It does. Eventually. And you? Any more nightmares?" Min-jae's expression tightened slightly. "Fewer. They're getting better." "Good. Healing takes time." After dinner, they walked Halmione home through Seoul's evening bustle. The city felt safe now, not because the danger was gone, but because they'd learned to navigate it together. "She's happy," Yuna said as they drove home. "She deserves to be. So do we. Are we? Happy?" Yuna considered the question. "Yes. Different than I expected. But yes. How is it different?" "Quieter. Less dramatic. More like choice than accident." "Boring?" "Perfectly boring." At home, they settled into evening routines. Yuna graded papers from the English class she'd started teaching twice a week. Min-jae reviewed security plans for a client's corporate event. Domestic tranquility. Shared space. Comfortable silence. "Yuna?" Min-jae said without looking up from his laptop. Do you miss it?" "Miss what?" "The intensity. The constant drama. Having your life decided by other people's violence." "No. Do you?" "Sometimes. When normal feels too slow." "What helps with that?" "Remembering what we almost lost. Each other. Our choice to be together." Yuna set down her papers, walked to the couch where Min-jae was working. "Can I tell you something?" "Always." "I used to think love was supposed to be overwhelming, desperate, all-consuming. And now?" Now I think love is supposed to be sustainable, strong enough for normal days, flexible enough for complicated ones. Is that what this is? This is someone I trust with my boring Tuesday evenings and my terrifying Saturday emergencies. Same person, best possible version of myself. Min Jae closed his laptop, pulled Yuna down beside him on the couch. I love your boring Tuesday evenings, he said. I love your complicated problem-solving brain. Even when it keeps me awake thinking about security protocols, especially then, it means you care about keeping people safe. Just people in general, people in specific. Me, Halmione, the clients who trust you with their problems. You make me sound heroic. You make me feel protected without feeling controlled. Is that enough? It's everything. They sat on the couch, holding hands, watching Seoul's lights twinkle through their apartment windows. 6 months ago, Yuna couldn't have imagined this life. Normal job, safe home, love that felt like partnership instead of possession. Min Jae? Yes? When you were planning what came after the trials, what did you hope for? This, exactly this. Boring apartment, quiet evenings, normal problems? You, choosing to stay, building something real instead of running towards something dramatic. And now that you have it, now I want to keep it. For how long? However long you'll let me. What if I said forever? I'd ask if you mean it. I mean it. Then I'd say forever sounds perfect. Even if it gets boring, especially if it gets boring. Outside, Seoul hummed with its endless energy. Millions of people pursuing their own versions of happiness, their own definitions of love, their own choices about what risks were worth taking. Inside their small apartment, Yuna and Min Jae had found their answer. Complicated love made simple by daily choice. Dangerous hearts made safe by mutual trust. Extraordinary people building ordinary happiness. Forever sounded exactly right. 6 months later, Yuna woke to the sound of rain against their bedroom window. Min Jae was already up, sitting at the small desk in their corner, reading something on his laptop. Early morning? She asked. Couldn't sleep. Client emergency. Anything serious? Corporate espionage. Missing documents. Probably inside job. Sounds familiar. Different stakes. No one's life is in danger. Yuna stretched and padded to the kitchen, started coffee and rice, morning routines that had become second nature. Halmione's doctor appointment is today, she called. I know. I'll drive you both. You don't have to. I want to. Through the kitchen window, she could see their neighbors beginning their own morning routines. Normal people living normal lives. The kind of ordinary existence she'd never imagined wanting. Now she couldn't imagine wanting anything else. Min Jae appeared in the kitchen doorway, still in pajamas, hair messy from sleep, looking completely different from the controlled man she'd first met in that greasy diner. Coffee smells good, he said. Everything okay with your client? Will be. Just need to review some security footage. From where? Pharmaceutical company. Different one. Legitimate operation this time. Yuna felt a familiar chill. You're sure? Completely. Full government licensing. Transparent operations. Clean financial records. And you know this how? Because I spent 3 days doing background checks before taking the contract. Paranoid? Careful. There's a difference. What's the difference? Paranoid assumes everyone is dangerous. Careful assumes some people are dangerous and takes appropriate precautions. And which are you? Careful, with occasional paranoid moments when it comes to your safety. My safety isn't in question anymore. Your safety is always in question. That's what loving someone means. Worrying about them constantly? Being prepared to protect them if necessary. Yuna poured coffee into 2 mugs, handed one to Min Jae. Do you miss it? She asked. Miss what? The adrenaline, the life or death stakes, the feeling that everything mattered urgently. No. Do you? Sometimes, when normal feels too easy. What helps with that? Remembering that easy is what we fought for. Worth it? Completely worth it. They drank coffee in comfortable silence. Rain continued pattering against the windows. Seoul's morning traffic hummed in the distance. Min Jae? Yes? There's something I need to tell you. His expression sharpened. What kind of something? The good kind. How good? Yuna reached into the drawer beside the coffee maker, pulled out a small white box. Life-changing good. She handed him the box. He opened it carefully. Inside was a positive pregnancy test. Min Jae stared at it for a long moment. His expression cycled through surprise, confusion, fear, and finally joy. Are you sure? He asked. 3 tests, all positive. How do you feel about it? Terrified, excited, overwhelmed, in that order, all at once. And you want to keep it, raise it, love it, with you, even though we're not married? Even though everything is complicated and uncertain and probably going to be difficult? Yes. Min Jae set down his coffee, pulled Yuna into his arms. I love you, he said. I love the idea of us having a family. Even if we're terrible at it? Especially if we're terrible at it. We'll figure it out together. What if something goes wrong? Then we'll handle it together. What if I'm not ready? Then we'll get ready together. What if, Yuna, his voice was gentle but firm, whatever happens, we handle it together. That's what partnership means. Promise? I promise. She leaned against his chest, listened to his heartbeat. Steady, reliable. The sound of someone who kept promises. We should tell Halmione, she said. After the doctor appointment? After we process it ourselves. How long will that take? Probably years. Good. I like processing things with you, even when I'm hormonal and irrational. Especially then. You're interesting when you're irrational. I'm going to remind you of that in 6 months. Please do. They held each other in their small kitchen, listening to rain and traffic and the ordinary sounds of life continuing around them. Normal morning. Extraordinary news. Future stretching ahead, full of possibilities they'd never imagined. Complicated. Uncertain. Perfect. 6 months later, the hospital room smelled of antiseptic and new beginnings. Yuna held their daughter against her chest, counting tiny fingers and toes. Min Jae sat beside the bed, looking stunned and grateful. She's perfect, he whispered. She's tiny, tiny, and perfect. What should we call her? Whatever feels right. Sujin. It means precious and pearl. Sujin it is. Halmione appeared in the doorway, moving slowly but steadily. At 89, she'd insisted on being the first visitor. Let me see my great-granddaughter, she said. Min Jae helped her settle in the bedside chair. Yuna placed the baby in Halmione's arms. Such a beautiful child, Halmione said. Strong chin. She'll be stubborn like her mother. Is that good or bad? Yuna asked. Depends what she's stubborn about. Justice, hopefully, Min Jae said. Truth. Protecting people who need protecting. Those are good things to be stubborn about. The baby made small sounds. Peaceful. Content. Completely unaware of the complicated world she'd been born into. Have you thought about the future? Halmione asked. Every day, Yuna said. And we'll teach her to be strong, independent, kind, and careful, Min Jae added, but not afraid. Never afraid. Good. Fear makes people small. That evening, after visitors left and the baby slept, Yuna and Min Jae sat beside the hospital window. Seoul's lights sparkled beyond the glass. Different view than the first night we met, Min Jae said. Same city, different people. Are we different people? We're the people we chose to become. Better people. People who know what matters. And what matters? This. Family. Choice. The right to live our own lives. Min Jae reached for her hand. No regrets? About what? Choosing complicated over simple. Staying instead of running. Building something real instead of accepting something safe. No regrets, even though it was dangerous? Because it was dangerous. Easy choices don't teach you anything. And what did the hard choices teach you? That love is a decision you make every day. That safety comes from trust, not control. That home is wherever you choose to build it. Wise woman. Woman who survived pharmaceutical criminals and learned to trust a reformed killer with her heart. Reformed? Mostly reformed. Still have some killer instincts when it comes to protecting your family. Is that a problem? It's perfect. The baby stirred in her bassinet, made small hungry sounds. Yuna lifted her for feeding. What do you think her life will be like? Yuna asked. Probably complicated. Because of us? Because of everything. The world is complicated. Will she be ready for it? We'll make sure she is. How? By teaching her to be brave, to choose truth over comfort, to protect people who need protecting. And if she makes different choices, then we'll love her anyway. Promise? I promise. Outside the window, Seoul hummed with endless energy. Millions of people pursuing their own versions of happiness, their own definitions of family, their own choices about what risks were worth taking. Inside the hospital room, 3 generations of women slept peacefully, protected by a man who'd learned the difference between power and strength, complicated love made simple by daily choice, Dangerous hearts made safe by mutual trust. Extraordinary people building ordinary happiness. One promise at a time. The morning sun rose over Seoul's skyline. Traffic began moving through the streets. The city woke to another day of possibility. In the hospital room, Min-jae watched his new family sleep, whispered a prayer to Seomi and their unborn child, thanked them for leading him to this second chance. "We'll take good care of each other," he promised the covered memorial in his memory. "All of us." Yuna opened her eyes, saw him sitting by the window, holding their daughter. "Good morning," she whispered. "Good morning. Ready for the rest of our lives? With you? Ready for anything. Even diaper changes, especially diaper changes. Feeding schedules. Bring them on. Sleepless nights? Already survived plenty of those. College tuition? We'll figure it out. Teenage rebellion? Looking forward to it. Growing old together? Can't wait." Yuna smiled. "I love you. I love you too. All of us. All of us." The baby opened her eyes, dark like her father's, alert like her mother's, ready to see the world. Min-jae handed her to Yuna. 3 generations of fierce women and 1 reformed killer learning to be gentle. Perfect family. Complicated love. Simple happiness. Home.